you have a quorum?
We do have a quorum. We've
Yeah.
got Judy, we've got myself, we've got Ryan, and Electra is behind us remote. Hello, Electra.
Hello.
Uh, First item on the agenda is approval of minutes from the May 8th meeting.
We had two little changes to
A
it,
couple of words I missed that I got.
and other than that, I move that we approve it with this couple changes.
Second.
All in favor?
I,
That's for the transcription later. We're missing one at the moment, but we'll be here soon. I'll make sure that we add to the comments when he gets here, so you know.
Yeah, I'll have it, I'll have it in there too.
Public comments, items on the agenda. Sorry, do you have some?
Nope, you're good.
Everybody here is on the agenda, more or less. Moving on to items for discussion, airport construction grants, FAA grant projects.
Runway 1230, no news there, just kind of working on some closeout documents for the FAA and waiting for any type of word from the manufacturer for the reels, but everything's in, checks out, working for now. So.
And then 725 has the same issue.
725 had an issue, seems to be fixed, but they're the same type of reels, so we're kind of watching that a little bit closer. We had the lights. I think it was a capacitor went out on one of on the 7 end, because they're the old halogen ones, and they were down for a while, but we got those fixed and up and running. So.
DOT grants.
Some good news, some neutral news, and there's some kind of news. Our governor did finally sign the funding legislation on day 29 and a half after the end of the legislative session. So we are going to have a state program. Now we got to wait for the state to do their thing and post a list on who gets grants. The neutral kind of news, because this is a revenue generating project in the eyes of the FAA, we still have to do the statement saying we won't need discretionary funding for 3 years. I agree. However, it's only limited discretionary funding, so our entitlements are, we still get access to that, which we have our maintenance project coming up this next year. And then we go into a holding pattern anyway, because we're building up money for the apron. So at the end of the day.
So that applies to bill too?
And it is applying, at least at this point, is applying to bill 2.
Okay, so run through us real quick what our plan was with those funds, because I've lost track of it. So I meant downstream, like the downstream effects. Obviously, we're going to use the rest of the bill money for the hangar expansion.
Yep.
That was like $6,500.
That's about $600,000, and that's going to be the end of that one.
That cleans out that balance.
Yep.
And we still have to do the statement. And then for 3 years, were we already going to be building up discretionary funds for the apron expansion, or?
No, right now. So what's going to happen right now? We have about 400 and with the fiscal year turn, we'll have about $450,000 of entitlement funding built up. That is kind of split in half to do the maintenance projects, the last half of 725 and then 1230 for crack and joint sealing.
Okay.
Some minor pavement repairs if needed, but that's generally what that money is for. Then that goes back to zero. Our apron in 2 phases are both about $1 million each. So we're going to be spending some time building up, again, $450,000, $500,000, $600,000, whatever we can before we get really desperate and just start begging for discretionary funding to do those 2 phases of apron expansion. And that's going to take 3-4 years. So we're going to be sitting idle anyway.
Okay. So that answers my question about the pavement maintenance, because that was one of our concerns about, well, what if we don't want the loan? No, can we do that? But we're not doing that. So, okay. This is kind of a really stupid question, but is this just like the FAA's interpretation of the law, or is this actually law?
I think it's new administration interpretation of the law.
Marvelous, because that's been rock solid. Okay. Okay. And sorry, that was the neutral news. What's the news?
I mean, for me, that is kind of.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I agree. I didn't know if there was.
It's a thing. I do have, if you guys want to take a look at the draft, because I do have it ready for your signature. That's essentially the letter we just submitted. And then we also have to submit an updated CIP sheet. That's for the year.
Okay. FFY federal fiscal.
Basically, we have to say our airside needs are met for 3 years. Our CIP reflects that. And the justification for the project, which we have a hangar waiting list, and the last entry took 2 years to get through, and yada, yada, yada.
Oops.
Is that letter the one in the package, Mike?
I do not have that in the packet.
Okay.
That's a lady handout.
Makes sense to me.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay.
Wildlife study, I met with the USDA guys earlier. This week.
He really wants to.
Yeah.
As an IT professional, percussive maintenance is also accepted. Sometimes it actually faces the way.
I know, remember trying to get me to send the money. So
Yeah, oh, just.
I think I turned off
There's so
the
many of
sound.
those. There's attention span. Wildlife study. So I met with the USDA crew on Tuesday. They came out and did kind of a pre-meeting. Here's what we're gonna do. Basically over the next year, they come out to the airport essentially a couple of times a month. Sounds like what they're gonna do. They literally just sit out here and log what they see, when they see it, that kind of stuff. And then at next summer, presumably at the end of next summer, we'll have a nice little report of here's all the stuff you got, here's ways to mitigate it, things like that. And we'll be able to use that for like other FAA funding, other state funding, if we want to go down. But I met with them for probably a good couple hours, took them around the airport, kind of showed them the highlights of where things are. Obviously got the river right there. We got a pond to the south and the mobile home park, kind of a drainage basin up here where Walmart is. Those are all things that kind of impact us. We talked about, do we see birds from the landfill? We're going back and forth in that pattern because the landfill's not that far away. Just what do we know we see, that kind of stuff, incidences that we know of. Yeah, so.
I know, I mean, the USDA report it gives us, I guess, some amount of legitimacy in our grant request of the FAA if we want to do anything.
Basically, yeah.
Hey, this agency said we should do this,
It's
so.
basically what we use for the justification.
Yeah. But it doesn't, I don't know, does it also open up additional funding streams for grant?
I don't know if it opens up additional streams. I don't know that there are necessarily that, but it allows us to use those streams for this type of project if we want to.
Maybe the DNR or something.
There might be some DNR type stuff. I'll have to
They might need to
take
do
a
some of the
deeper
work.
dive. Yeah.
Airport ops?
Airport ops budget, I did throw the solar array comparison sheet into the packet. Just so you all can see the numbers that I'm seeing, because wow. But to reiterate the wow, we are, as far as our utility bill on the runway lights, we're down 86%.
Astonishing.
It is absolutely wonderful. And we're building up a credit. So when we get into October, November, December, We get to burn that credit when we're not generating as much power.
Yeah, we are amazingly efficient. HVAC.
Yeah, so I am super excited to see what the full year looks like when this is all said and done. We are,
Was there any problem with the smoke and things like that? Did it block off the solar stuff or did that affect it?
yeah, it affected it.
Did-
I didn't pay that close of attention to it when it was
Yeah.
hazy and smoky, but yeah, I know
I
it
didn't know
dropped
if it could
the,
go through that
yeah, no. It did drop the,
a little bit.
Sarah Gardner, the climate, action coordinator. We're working on kind of doing a solar. She wants to do a big educational thing with solar power, and we're gonna use the airport for tours and do some other stuff to show off, what solar can do for you.
Awesome.
Kind of a thing. Yeah, so that's for the most part, it's budgets. This is the last month of the fiscal year, so we got about 2 months left. I think all in all, we're doing pretty good. We have had a couple of bigger hangar expenses from cables and some other stuff, just as everybody's using them in the summer, it happens, but I think for what we have and where we're at. We're doing okay.
Okay.
Management, just as an FYI, over the last week, we have seen a tent over in the area that we cleaned up a couple of years ago. That is being taken care of. PD is on top of it after we've learned it was there. And it sounds like the person that's been there is voluntarily moving along. So we'll see and hope that proves to be true, but
To the place north of it, or to the place west of Terry Drew Blood.
probably somewhere in the area. But outside of that, I haven't noticed too much and we haven't got any big reports of people being over there, so. But when we do get on one, we act on. And if it becomes a issue where we need the airport commission to act, we'll bring it up to the airport commission to do that process. Let's see what else do I have on my list? I think that's all I have from manage. Oh, no, maintenance. Throw that in here. Braden, our intern, and I did do the maintenance inspection, so we have kind of a nice little list here. We got probably about half a dozen airplanes that would, I think at this point, not meet the airworthy and flyable definitions of our upcoming hangar lease agreement. We do have one hangar that had multiple vehicles in it, but that airplane was also in Arizona at the same time, so technically by lease, it's one vehicle is okay, one vehicle is permitted. So that might be an issue in the future we want to address.
Vehicle was while the plane is being used.
That's the language. It's in the
Okay,
lease, yes. When you're using your airplane actively, you can put a vehicle in it, assuming you brought a vehicle to the airport and we don't really have parking.
Is that a safety concern, have 2 vehicles instead of 1?
And when the doors open and people see a hangar full of vehicles, I even asked other people with a hangar full of vehicles to vacate their hangar.
Yeah.
It does become a little bit of an issue.
Can you explain
Probably not.
hangar 28 plane cut in half?
That's another one. No, that's a hangar. It's a hangar that is involved with multiple hangars and they have parts of airplanes in there.
Oh, okay. I look.
Yeah,
Water,
the water jet.
yeah, water jet cut.
No.
So what do we do now that they are not?
Well, right now, we don't have the language in the current lease, so it's something that they need to be in compliance of for
For the next.
this fall.
Is it October?
October is when they
Yeah.
turn.
And if they aren't,
Then we're gonna start.
What do you do?
I think our. Power that we have in the lease agreement, those things are cycling those hangers out. And making them available to some food list or use.
so we evict them,
I mean, essentially, I think,
That would be what you would have to do.
open the hanger up and drag their stuff out.
yeah.
Okay.
I mean, maybe, and this might be something we'll wanna put on the agenda to have more discussion, because I think the other option would be you could not. Renew the lease
Oh, yeah,
versus renewing it and then evicting them.
that would make it easier, right?
And we can. Project that message now.
Good. Yeah, that makes it
Give them
cleaner,
warning.
doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean, maybe you wanna put that up as a item. On the agenda next month, and then you can talk about that.
Yeah.
So the plane cut in half is part of multiple hangars, or it's in a
The
hangar?
the plane is in a hangar,
Okay,
or the parts of that plane is in a hangar, the
Okay.
tenant is involved in like 4 other airplanes.
okay.
Or
I guess
4
that
other
would
hangars.
still
This is what
technically
you're talking.
not meet
Not
the
quite.
definition, or not meet the requirement of a lease though, right, for that hangar space?
I would say it would be hard to argue it's under active construction.
Yeah. Okay. I was just trying to understand, if it was
Yeah.
like a big hangar that had multiple parts, or if it's like a T hangar
With parts.
with parts.
Part storage hangar, what's left here.
Okay.
So yeah, we will throw that on the agenda for next month for some more discussion. Um,
Thanks for compiling that, by the way.
no, that's part of it. Events upcoming next weekend is Summer of the Arts movie night again. I think this time it's The Princess Bride. Outside of that. I don't think we have anything again and big until August. I guess we do have another movie in July, but August will be a big active month of things with Young Eagles and the Pancake Breakfast. Matt is not here, as I bet you can see. Matt is coming back from a sales trip to Chicago. He was demoing a plane for somebody. And they sent me a message at about 5:20, like, we're on our way back, but meeting's gonna be pretty quick, so I don't know. I know the guys have been cleaning up the front. That's kind of the thing they've been hitting right now. I just met with Lucas, their new kind of airport guy for wine service. Matt, Lucas and I met this morning to kind of go over things. He just got back from his couple of weeks off of getting married and having a honeymoon and stuff like that. Yeah. But we're getting back on top of things. We've got the last area where we've got to get people to land beside the runway. We've got a hanging door that's been off for a couple of weeks because of primarily wind issues we need to fix. And then just general catching up with other stuff and our maintenance list. So all in all, maintenance, Judy's favorite maintenance topic, the hangar door over there. Sometime shortly after the turn of the fiscal year, that's gonna get redone.
Good. That'll make a big difference for people coming in. What it looks like. And it looks really good out here, the way they fixed this up and trimmed and
Yep.
for people coming into the airport. I mean,
We got this one
yeah,
almost taken care of. They're not quite done. And then they're
Yeah.
gonna flip to the viewing area, get that freshened up.
good.
So we're getting there.
That'll help. People's. Give them better opinion coming in and out.
Other than that, I don't know if you wanna talk about flight training a little bit. I know you guys are
Flight
busy.
training is. Supposed to be a little part-time thing that been doing in retirement for fun. I've been flying for 3-4 hours every day on weeks. But yeah, it's going real well. The airplanes are so busy that they're all having their 100-hour inspections about every 6 weeks. It's insane. So, but yeah, in fact, Lucas you were talking about, he just got his pilot's license. 3 of the other linemen also just got their.
they're all.
Yeah, yeah. So. Yeah, I'd say it's quite busy.
Yes, you see a lot of them. Flying over our neighborhood, yes.
I think it should be changing. So I do have a main class question that may want to actually.
Okay.
On. Sunday. When the weather came through. I was landing here and I thought that there may be some of the green and red threshold lights on 2 far out. I'm actually not convinced that there are ones that should go on the right side. So I wasn't sure, so not or possibly purposely be selected.
No, there should be 4 on each side.
Okay. And more that it leads again or lost in terms of different thing.
Well,
Yeah, but that's they're really great. Yes, they are.
But I have sunglasses.
They do have line high and low settings, so when you turn them on, they're on high.
Yeah.
Took them 3, they'll go to low.
It was really, really raining hard. So I knew the bottom. And then I got close and I didn't.
Yeah, that's also the cheddar's done.
Member reports. Staff report.
Just a couple of dates on there, still got the 4 States Conference in Kansas City in August. I am gonna go on vacation next week and then burn a couple of days, and then Thursday is the city holiday, so you guys got for the week. And then at the end of August, I'll have. And when I do come back, 21st or 2nd, on the 24th, I'll be in Ankeny for an IPAA board. So. That's all I'm expecting for. Things taking me out of the office, so that's. Couple of months.
The next meeting is July 10th.
I plan to be here.
I should be here. Late.
After, will you be here on?
Yes, on the 10th. Yes, I will. I was just flying yesterday, so I didn't want to come in today just in case I got something in the plane.
Future. Second and all there.
Aye.